This cast is amazing.
And so is the script and animation. Chip and Dale are back, unlike you've ever seen them before. We're checking out how this fun-filled movie got made. But before we dive in, you should probably subscribe to our new channel, The Things Animated, to get all the hidden secrets and unique theories behind your favorite animated movies and shows. Number 1. You've definitely never seen Chip and Dale like this before. Whether they were a stuffy or a model, these chipmunks took many forms. Chip rocked the old-fashioned animated look on screen, and on set it was pretty similar, only 3D. Since Dale underwent that CGI surgery, his model was a bit simpler in look, but this was to ensure all the high-tech tracking could be done in order to properly animate the character during the editing stage. Number 2. How did the models move around? Of course, these two chipmunks had to be active, considering they're the title characters of the movie. But how did they move? Well, they let the crew move for them. Attached to long sticks, the chipmunk models could be perfectly moved around and tracked by the cameras, the same way they would have with people. Number 3. They always hit their marks. And that's in part because they were specially made models placed around to help those who were actually on set to film their scenes. The Captain Putty model was looking real sharp. Number 4. This movie has it all. We're not kidding.
Puppets, there's claymation, stop motion, there's Uncanny Valley, motion capture.
This film truly is a celebration of all animation, at least all that they were allowed to include, from the old to new to intellectual property outside of the Disney world.
You know, Pixar-style characters, it's cheap 2D looking TV stuff from back in the 90s and 80s.
Seeing it all together is a testament to just how far movie making has come. Number 5. 3D models for co-stars isn't ideal, especially when they can't talk, move, or look at you.
It's very different working with performers that aren't there.
Kiki Layne interacted with plenty of other characters in the movie, but her reality was pretty different.
Essentially, I'm the only performer on set.
In place of the animated characters she couldn't see were all kinds of stand-ins, including a classic, the Green Spandex Man.
It's very different, I don't know, having to trust myself as an actor.
So how did she manage? Her director Akiva Schaffer was a major help since he very clearly explained what would be happening, how it would all look, and what to expect, setting the whole scene.
It made it easy for me to settle into the fact that none of those things were actually there.
But even with all that, we have a feeling she would have liked to really hang with those chipmunks.
It's exciting to hear their voices.
Number 6. We got the best of the new and old. Since 1988, no actors have taken on voicing Chip and Dale since Corey Burton and Tress MacNeille.
She's Chip. I'm Chip. And I'm Dale.
Until Andy Samberg and John Mulaney. But just because they took on the bulk this time didn't mean the OG crew wasn't included.
When they are in their high-pitched voices, it's Corey Burton and Tress MacNeille.
They weren't the only ones that came back for some fun, though.
When Roger Rabbit's on there, it's Charles Fleischer doing the voice who did the original Roger Rabbit voice.
To make the film all the more special, even animators who worked on the original projects were included.
The guy who animated Roger Rabbit's designs in our movie also worked on the original Roger Rabbit.
Wow.
Number 7. It's a process. But for John Mulaney, it actually wasn't too much of a stretch.
I do really see myself in Chip.
In terms of vibes, Mulaney knew what he was dealing with.
I can be a little cold to people, or I can be a little condescending, and Chip can be a little condescending to Dale.
He was pretty perfectly cast, and opposite longtime pal Andy Samberg, well, they brought out something in each other.
Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers.
Number 8. How many could you find?
First off, you gotta thank the lawyers.
That is certainly true, especially since there's pretty much a cameo at every turn in this movie.
It was super important to me to get characters from outside of the Disney universe.
But the work to make it happen wasn't easy.
It was a huge headache, and I'm sure way more work than almost any other movie they ever work on.
Well, except when it was.
Well, wouldn't it be cool if it was My Little Pony, and then we call these lawyers and they'd be like, okay, here we go. And
thanks to all that work, we get to see the likes of Roger Rabbit, My Little Pony, Flounder the Fish, Sneezy from Snow White, Pumbaa in a super meta moment, and we can't forget the Paula Abdul. Number 9. These sets could make magic. The vibes and nostalgia were strong, including on these pastel-colored, old-fashioned, cartoony Americana-style sets. Every detail was covered, from the old-fashioned gumball machines to the costumes and physicality of the actors. Every day was a carnival on this set. Number 10. And we're not talking about the original Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
I've been working on this for a long time.
Way back in 2015, the magic began.
We started writing this movie 7 years ago, so to be here right now is just unbelievable.
In 2018, it landed in the hands of their director. And then from there, well, all sorts of changes happened to land where we got.
Some of the words we wrote a long time ago, some of them are new.
We're thinking this was definitely worth all that time. Number 11. It's a big task. One of the biggest struggles that this production faced was getting the go-ahead from the big boss. If Disney was going to invest the money into this feature, they needed a sneak peek at what was to come.
Gave us about a $200,000 budget and a team at MPC and said, why don't you make like a 20-shot little short that kind of shows the world.
And which 20-shot short did it?
We chose a scene with Seth Rogen's mocap guy.
They are weird. Super weird.
And guess what? That was sent to Disney Plus, meaning it might make it to the special features. Fingers crossed.
I don't know, that convinced them that it was okay.
Number 12. They do run a tight ship.
I was as surprised as you are that they let us get away with everything they let us get away with.
Diving into the many different Disney worlds of animation required a whole lot of convincing and proving why it was important to the film. And just because they were an in-house production didn't mean Disney was gonna budge.
Sometimes it was easier to get someone from Hasbro to say yes than it was for Disney to let us use their own thing.
In the end, the production team couldn't get certain cameos, but they never gave up.
Until they had said no so many times, they felt like they had to say yes to something.
Number 13. Friends help friends make movies. It's just the right thing to do. Akiva Schaffer had a pretty clear vision about who he needed to play the Viking.
That was actually the one piece of casting that was in the script.
And shockingly, it didn't actually take that much convincing. One quick conversation and Seth Rogen was there. Rogen steals the show with his performance, so it was definitely worth doing.
What are you looking at? Honestly, your weird dead eyes.
Number 14. Time for a trip down memory lane.
I stepped into like a time capsule. Like, oh my gosh, it's incredible.
This set had the best of the best, so it's no wonder filming a scene inside the garage was a special one for Kiki Lane.
Definitely a favorite was the scene where we're all in the garage because all of that memorabilia was actually there.
We're talking all the 90s kids memorabilia you could want, from posters to models.
The 90s kid in me was like,
While every part of filming was a joy,
that was definitely a highlight of being on this film,
even without co-stars. Number 15. For the director, this was a crash course in movie making.
And I was like, oh, I'll get to learn how real animation is made.
While it wasn't familiar to Schaffer, this kind of filming process has been seen before.
It's also like essentially the same thing as making a Marvel movie or something in terms of production.
Bringing Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers to life required many of the same processes, including previs, animation, and all that magic. And while Schaffer had never done it before, he was up for the challenge.
And cut. That's a wrap, folks.
Who doesn't love a dose of nostalgia with a brand new spin on it? The team behind it put all kinds of heart into it and have made animation world dreams come true. We are here for it. Which was your favorite cameo included in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers?